So I hope everyone had a good. Yeah, go ahead. Soup, begin the recording. And yes, Kills, go ahead and begin and play the theme.
Thalmor Radio. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Thalmor Radio. Yeah, he's coming at you from the top. Oh no, no, he won't stop. Thalmor Radio. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Thalmor Radio.
Thalmor Radio.
Welcome, everyone, to the December 7th emergency show. It's an emergency. It's time to panic. It's time to shit yourself, not in the toilet, but yourself, because it's an emergency. And you should all be wearing adult diapers anyways, because you will end up in one when you're older, and that's just life. So, two things happening. Very unexpected. Thing number one is Mystery and Oasis have signed. Tyrion can correct me. I'm thinking it's an MDP. It might be an MDOAP, but essentially it's an MDP. Thank you. So, two blocks, Mystery and Oasis, have signed an MDP, an M-level treaty with each other. And that's interesting. Second thing that's happened is, who were the parties to it? It was Rose, Oasis, Hollywood, and Clock, I believe. Those four blocks, they've signed what? It's not as much, I don't think it's really a treaty as much as it is a sentiment. But they've all formally come together and decided that they are going to try to stay away from pushing for long naps as much. I think the only people who haven't signed it are Mystery and Cindy Sphere, but that's okay. So, let me talk about the Mystery and Oasis treaty first, because that's the biggest thing. That's the thing that has everyone shitting their pants. That's the biggest reason why we're having an emergency show. Two blocks have signed a treaty with each other. Now, I've known about this for like an hour or so. 15 minutes after the thread went up, I learned about it, and I've been thinking about. I've been pacing my house. I've been looking out the window. I've been petting my cats, and I've been thinking, what does this mean? What does this treaty mean? And here's what it means. First off, I want to say that it's good that it's public. There's a reason why it's public and not a secret treaty. Oh, secret treaty. And this is what's going on. This is what I think's going on. Now remember, guys, I'm a retard. I don't know anything about anything. But I think Oasis feels like it's drowning. There's too much water in the Oasis. I think they feel like they were drowning. And I think that they were desperate. And so they reached out to Mystery, and Mystery played ball with them. Now, why did Mystery play ball with them? I think Mystery felt similar, but not to the same amount. I think Mystery... You got Hollywood right here, and Hollywood is anchored by TKR and TKR's allies. That's a thing. That's a community or a group of communities. You have Rose over here. Rose is fuck old. They have their community. They're anchored by Rose. They have their friends. Over here, you got Cindy Sphere, anchored by, of course, the Syndicate. They got their allies. All those ties go back years. They're a community. And then you have Clock Block, which is just a unique autistic child anyways. That's a thing. So I think Mystery felt like they didn't have the same packing that the rest did. And so when Oasis reached out to Mystery and said, hey, you want to be friends? They were like, yeah, sure. Kind of like how the two loser kids become best friends because they have no one else. Kind of something similar. I kid. But still, I think that's why they became friends. And I think Oasis felt like that they had an impending sense of doom. And this is a desperation move. That's what I think is going on. I think that's why you have the mysterious Oasis. Post-war, whatever happens, like a year from now, I don't think it's going to exist. I don't think they will still be treated. But for right now, I think the circumstances played out that they signed this treaty. And look, politically, it makes sense for Oasis to do this. It's very easy to dunk on them for it. It's very easy to dunk on them for this. I probably will dunk on them, but if I put myself into the Oasis' shoes, I think this is the best move they could do politically. Because I don't think they have the same warrior spirit that some others do. Which I'm not. This isn't necessarily a dig at them, but I think politically they took a step back. What's the best thing we can do? And this was them. Now look, what Oasis is doing is they're trying to deter aggression. This is what I mean by the impending sense of doom, the sense of drowning. Oasis is scared they're going to get attacked. It could be from ARG, could be from Clock, could be from anywhere because everyone's fucking militarizing now. And they signed this treaty, and that's why it's public. Because, okay, look, when you install a security system, you know what happens? Sure, you get a security system, but you also get a nice little fancy sign to put in your front yard saying, hey, this house is protected by ADT or whatever. This is the same thing. That's why this is a public announcement. They're trying to deter aggression. And will it work? It might. I don't know. But here's the thing. What Mystery and Oasis have done is they have created a mega block, something that is despised by the broader community. Why Quack was public enemy number one? Why Hollywood was public enemy number one? Now the mysterious what? Hold on, Tyrion. What's this grouping called? I'm calling it the Mysterious Oasis, but do you have another name for it? Miss Oasis? Oasis and Mystery working together. I'll just call it the Mysterious Oasis, the MO. The MO, that's it. MO, Mysterious Oasis. So the MO is together, and what the MO is doing is by doing this public thing of, hey, we're working together, we're forming this mega block, it's to deter aggression. Possibly it gives them a unified front for aggressive action, but I don't think Mystery and Oasis are thinking, all right, who can we fuck next? I think they're like, okay, we're together, we're in the bunker together, we can now cover both sides of the hallway just fine. That's what they're really thinking. And unfortunately, in doing this, what the MO has done is they've painted a big what's the word I'm looking for? A big target on their back. I think now every block has a reason to swing at them because now the MO is the big boy, and I think it's just how it is. So will MO be attacked? Look, everyone's milling up, okay, and people don't like that they're together. So we'll see what happens. I don't think MO is permanent. I don't think they'll be around a year from now because I think the forming of the MO it's a desperation move. It's a logical move. I'm not saying they're dumb for doing this. I don't think that at all. I think it's very pragmatic, but it is a desperation move, and the security they're gaining in forming MO is probably weaker than the amount of heat and negative attraction they're going to get from coming together. So that's what I think. And okay, we'll swing back to that in just a minute. So now you have the second topic is you have Rose, Oasis, Hollywood, and Clock making this like anti-nap thing, and I think that's cool. I do think I agree with this thesis that naps are a big reason why politics has stagnated. And so I'm glad to see the majority of the game consciously decide to push against this. So I'm very curious to see if a war does break out this month, how that plays out. And that's really all I got to say. I like to see it. I think that there's enough push behind it that you will see some change. And I'm hoping that if a war does break out, that the political landscape after it will be much more freer and just much more flexible and active. And that's all I really got to say on that. Yeah, thank you, Justinian. I do get the vibe that Justinian was like the biggest person pushing it, and good on him. He's made some change. And I think that's it. That's all I got to say about those two topics. Nothing else has happened, and I think I'm ready. Let's go ahead and unmute some people, and let's have actual decision makers who are in the hot seat of all this be able to talk. So obviously, Lord Tyrion can be unmuted. I'll unmute him. Justinian can be unmuted. Azazel should be unmuted. Who else?
Get Velny Voss as well.
I got Weisel and Wana unmuted.
Okay. I think it's a good enough spread. Alright, so obviously the biggest thing is the MO. Okay, Azazel is still muted.
I got him.
Yeah, he should be good now. Alright, Azazel. What's up? What's going on?
Just give me a second to go grab my headset.
Alright. Someone is like clinging glass. Don't do that. Don't cling your glass into the mic. That hurts my ears. My brain is melted enough from the 5G technology. I do not need it melted further by sonic booms over the microphone.
What about James Wilson?
Maybe. Azazel's headset must be at Mount Doom or something, because it's taken him a little bit to set it up, but that's okay. Weisel, what do you think about all this? What does the Red Bird think?
I mean, at the moment, we're really just trying to process what's going on exactly and where this is going to end up leading going forward. So it's definitely an interesting development.
Yeah, and look, I have to give credit to MO. They were public with it. I think that's good. No secret treaties have been involved here, and that's a point in their favor, I think.
Yeah,
Tyrion, you are unmuted.
Hey, what's up?
My man, Lord Tyrion, the angel has spoken. How are you doing, bud?
Doing all right. Busy.
I'm sure you have been. So, look, a lot of people don't like what you've done here with signing Mystery. And I see, like I said, I understand why you guys did it, but I also understand why people aren't happy with it. People have their opinions. I don't know if you can change them, but can you explain the logic behind forming MO?
Probably can't say everything that went into the decision, but I will say, kind of backing up to the secret treaty stuff. We we did that with Rose when, a couple wars back, and a lot of people got upset. And so, this decision to make it public at least was to try to curb that, as we look at what what happens when we play mini spheres. You're going to work with different spheres depending on the situation at hand. And so we found ourselves in a situation where it made sense, where we wanted to work with Mystery here in the near future. And so that's kind of what we were looking to do here.
Yeah, and that all makes sense. Does anybody who is unmuted that disagrees with any of that want to speak up?
Well, it's not like many of us know the background workings of between the two blocks.
Yeah.
I do wonder
and
what two blocks wanted to work on.
So, like,
we're working on new technology for spaceships.
Do you like Tyrion? Do y'all not think this is kind of a bad precedent, given that? I mean, you've basically just ensured that two spheres are going to come after you at some point, at least two spheres at some point, right? Doesn't this just kind of set us up to go back to less than mini spheres?
Depends how long, I guess, people see Mystery and Oasis together. Do people still consider Oasis and Rose together because we had a treaty once?
Well, you have a treaty now.
Yeah,
but you guys didn't state like a timeline. I mean, is this a treaty with a timeline? Like, is it going to end after a month or two?
More than likely.
Okay. I mean, I may be the or the black sheep here, but I really don't think it's that serious. Like, I actually thought it was a half decent move in response to some militarization, but I know I'm about to get like four DMs telling me to shut the fuck up. So,
what militarization would that even be, though? Like 2 or 3 alliances?
Who is asking? Oh God.
Kev, I will unmute you, but you must kick your children out of the room first.
That's a fake Kev. That's not the real one.
Oh, that's the other Kev. It's not even Kev. Oh wait, no, that is Kev.
Yeah, that's Kev.
Oh, hello. Okay, real quick, I'm just listening in. But Tyrion, you said something that caught my ear. You said last time when we did this with Rose and didn't make it public, people got upset. So are you admitting that you had a secret treaty with Rose on that war? That's all I wanted to ask. Back to you, Thalmor.
We did have a defensive treaty in place with Rose. I think we were public about that after the fact, yeah.
Were they public about it after the fact? I don't remember that, but remember, I'm retarded and my brain is halfway melted anyways.
Well, I barely play this game anymore, but I was just kind of curious.
It's sort of like actions as well, like the actions speak for themselves.
Borg says, do you still have a treaty with Rose? I do not think that at all. I don't think there is any lasting relationship between, like, formal, like, I got your back, you got my back relationship with Rose between Oasis and Rose. I think...
yeah, as I kind of stated before, in a game like this with multiple spheres, you might work with someone in a given situation where it makes sense. We might see other blocks work together and not work together in the future. It just kind of will ebb and flow as the politics change.
Yeah, exactly. Which is what I think happened here. I think, like I said, I think I know why you guys did this, and it makes sense. I can't tell you not to do it, because you gotta do what's best for your circumstances. So,
Yeah, I'll chime in real quick.
And that's
Thalmor.
kind of
I was kind of letting Tyrion say his thing real quick before I said something. I think when you look at it too, so I'm a newer player in the game. I know the secret treaty thing is definitely frowned upon. Especially if somebody was to go offensive, dogpiling and working together to do that. So when you look at transparency, I think putting a temporary MVP out on the forums and just stating this is where it's my crickets for my bearded dragon. I'm sorry, Dave. So when you look at it, it's we definitely want to be transparent about where we stand defensively, but that does not mean that there's any intent there to use that offensively. For what that's worth. If there's backlash because of it, it's definitely something that was considered before we made that. Before we made the decision to make that public, but right now politically beneficial for both parties on hand. Both for us and Oasis, and then also Mystery. Obviously losing Aurora and Weed and kind of being the smaller block, it gives them a little bit of security on that. I disagree with that. There is a difference there. I think when you go into the offensive aspects, you want to be able to have integrity in what you do, and that's one thing that lacks in political aspects. Obviously, is you're always going to backdoor things. You're always going to be, trying to do a workaround. But this, it's definitely a true MVP. So you could take that for what you'd like. But yeah, I mean, we definitely hope that people can look at this and just understand it's two different blocks. We're not joining up together. This isn't some merge or anything bigger than what it is. Obviously, there will be some heat from it, and we can respect that. But we're confident in the move we made.
So just real quick, and I'm gonna dip out, but I just want to make sure I understood this correctly. So last war, you guys got heat for having the secret treaty with Rose, and then first you denied it, but you said you made it public later. I don't remember that personally, but maybe you did. I don't know. And then so this go around, you had the treaty, you had the agreement with Mystery Inc., so you wanted to make it public to not get that backlash again. I just want to make sure I've got that clear. Am I wrong on that?
Sorry, I had to go ahead, Darren. You start talking as soon as
I said you're not wrong. That's
okay.
Accurate.
All right, cool. So I think the main thing that's maybe ruffling feathers, I could be wrong, I don't know, but the main thing is probably like the secret treaty part, like with the stagnant politics, like the stagnant political atmosphere that people complain about all the time, like where it's only Rose or Syndicate or TKR doing stuff because everyone else is scared to get hit or scared to take losses or whatever the case may be. Like that's the narrative that's out there. True, untrue, otherwise, whatever. And one of the things people complain about are these secret treaties so no one ever moves. And so I think you guys being both of you guys, because Mystery Inc. and Oasis came to the defense of Rose, which apparently that was a secret treaty, just like what Hollywood at the time claimed. So that was just confirmed tonight or earlier. It was confirmed earlier, according to you, right? So I think that the issue is more along the lines of those secret treaties not allowing the game to move in a more dynamic way. And I get what you're saying too, as far as with mini spheres, you're going to team up with other spheres to make something happen, etc. But I think the complaint and something that you might need to argue against would be the stagnation complaint and why people are going to be upset that this move is going to cause stagnation. Just my 2 cents, but I don't know.
Yeah, Kev. I mean, I think when you look at it, you say stagnation, but at the same time, and we'll just take some of the comments I think publicly here, is that it's definitely jump starting a move. So when you talk about pushing politics and you talk about being somebody that's going to push a motive or control the politics of Orbis, so it doesn't always have to be offensive. It could also be something defensive that also pushes politics as well. And so, whether this was something like an offensive blitz that Oasis had done, or let's say Mystery had done, or whatever the case is, either way, at least we're still in some way, pushing towards making a first move as opposed to the sit around and wait propaganda.
Wasn't part of your message for going to war against Hollywood anti-consolidation, and now you're basically doing consolidation of a different type?
Oh boy, that's some hypocrisy right there.
Wait, did you just call yourself a hypocrite, George? That's not very nice.
What alliances has whoever spoken before I go off and sorry?
What? No, he just called out like you guys doing that, not.
Oh
I'm
no,
confused.
I'm not saying. Good job, good try, Kev.
What?
No, calling us consolidating and causing issues is definitely hypocrisy at the highest level.
Does that make it not true though?
Yeah, well, no.
You can argue as much as you want to or not, but
it's not an argument. It's a question.
Does
I'm Tim also being a hypocrite and I'll make you one?
No, I don't. I get you go that way, but monkey see, monkey do. If I have to protect myself and my alliance, I'm going to do it.
Well, what does this monkey see then?
That nobody else wants. Not the time for this. Wrong radio show. I have one coming up for this though.
So just to be clear, your response to what Weisel said was no you.
Was that Weisel speaking?
Or whoever it was.
That
Sounded like
was
Weisel.
me.
That was pretty fun.
Pre.
I would say no you. I would say we're just being reactionary in this where we have to be.
That's fine. I legit was just asking.
Sorry, it came out the wrong way because I thought you were somebody else at first. So my bad there. But no, it's reactionary, and I just have a huge issue with the way people are trying to frame it. It's two of the smaller blocks, at least one of the smallest blocks, working with someone other smaller, which is requirement. I mean, Mystery is, I believe, statistically the smallest sphere, correct?
Well, the Johnsons, but
okay. Okay, so I just think it's pretty funny that people are surprised that we have to work with somebody else. I mean, even Left Behind.
I kind of echo the sentiment that I don't think it's the best move, just because with that little questionable hypocrisy, you open the door to getting an easy steamroll against you. Like people can now use that as the rallying cry. You're the biggest numbers group of alliances together. You entered the war about anti-consolidation, and now, whether you agree or not, you've done some form of consolidation. Whether if you look at it, it's just you've consolidated two spheres, or you've got a kind of very strong hold on lower tiers, which has its own topic of debate if that's important or not. But you've basically painted a very easy target on yourselves.
I mean, that's a risk we were going to take, but as I believe Tyrion alluded to, this is a time-based treaty, so I mean, if people are worried about a month or two of us being together, I mean, I can't do anything about it.
So has the time actually been finalized and discussed? Or is it just kind of like a general in the future when we feel not threatened?
No, I mean, we have a pretty generalized time rule set. I mean, I'm not going to make it public at this point, but we're pretty solidified in where we want to go with it. How long?
So I mean, just in general,
assumption.
Just in general, you don't feel like you guys would have benefited from publicizing that it was a time-limited treaty?
We
or
actually
the actual
originally
time.
The original plan, I think, was to put it in there, or there was some questions, but we hadn't all agreed to it in time. But it is a time-based treaty. I believe. Let me see. I believe we're looking at. I mean, I myself personally would be shocked if it's over 30 days long.
Do you believe
If it's
that people
over
will
or
believe you
under
it's
30?
Over. I'd be shocked if it lasted more than 30 days.
Oh, okay.
Do you think people will believe you that it's actually over when it's over?
I mean, no and yes. I believe the people who know us well enough to actually have an established relationship will believe us. But you're always going to have the people who are always going to pretend it's there.
I mean, just because the last X amount of globals you guys have fought together, right? So I mean, would you say it's a fair assumption for someone to have, especially after this treaty?
And you can fair. We obviously have relationships farther than the treaty go. I mean, anybody can be friends with anybody. The past has just worked out that Oasis and Mystery worked together. We had the similar goals, a similar friends, so it worked out that way. In the future, I have no idea how it's going to work out. I could align with a completely different block, or we could, or they could.
Why didn't you name the treaty Swamp Accords?
No one else think that's funny?
I thought it was funny.
We can be honest, it's sort of funny.
I mean, I wasn't even swamped, so.
I'm so funny.
Ow, that actually hurt my ears quite a bit, Thalmor.
Jesus.
You were swamp in a different way, George. In your heart. But in a good way.
So I mean, this is basically just what I said earlier. This is a temporary move. It's defensive because y'all thought you were going. Okay, like Oasis thought they were going to get attacked. Fine. Azazel, what was the threat assessment for Mystery? What was you guys scared of?
I mean, that's not public information, but we're just reacting to the organization of the game.
I mean, there's only
it's not public information.
There's only one other group demilitarized. So
well, it's not just the militarization. It's been some screenshots and stuff coming in. So I guess that's what I'm alluding to.
Were you worried about my 0251 coming in at you? Because I don't think anybody else militarized.
Nah, not the 0251. Who's talking? Sorry, I don't know your voice.
Justinian.
Oh, I don't. What alliance are you in? You created the
Romans.
Romans, that's the one. But no, there's been several alliances militarizing, and more starting. So
I'll be honest. When I woke up this morning, my conspiracy theory was that Clock and Oasis were working together to hit somebody else, and I thought that would have been really exciting. Kind of sad that it wasn't.
So you said you have some screenshots and stuff. Like, why don't you share them?
Would I share them?
What's that?
Yeah, I gotta keep what you got next year, man.
It's a good way to get entire community support.
So you sign a treaty together on a very short-term basis. You talk about having intel about threats against you. Why should anyone believe you're not doing this to go offensive?
I mean, I there's no good answer to that. Like Karen said, we don't plan on going offensive. It's meant to be defensive. And I mean, it's formed an MVP for a reason, not MDOAP. So
I've been very nice and kind, but I have to buckle my seatbelt here a bit. So wait a minute. You have intel to suggest you might get attacked. And so in response, you form a mega block, but you're not going to attack. Wait a minute. So you're so scared of ghosts or whatever that you will form a mega block, but you won't like take a swing. Is that what you're saying?
Well, no, that's not what I'm saying at all. I said at this time we don't have plans for offensive, and we don't. We're simply making sure that Mystery, from Mystery side, I want to go from Mystery side, obviously. We're the smallest sphere in the game, so if we're getting threats, it's from spheres bigger than us. in that sense. So we're working with other spheres, as one should do, to make the situation better.
Let me just like in the past,
Okay.
most alliances when they team up with another sphere because of they're worried about someone jumping them, they usually counter jump. That's typically what has happened in the past.
Yeah, no, I mean, I definitely know that generally happens, but like I'm saying, we have no plans for offensive action right now.
And you don't feel like that causes stagnation? I mean, obviously nobody's asking you to sit there and get rolled, but forming a mega block and then parking the bus. You know, have you ever watched a soccer match where they park the bus? It's not exactly exciting.
I
Well,
don't
to
really
be fair,
find the game.
soccer isn't exciting. So I mean, like,
Okay, well, my point was, if you're going to kill the momentum but then not shift the momentum somewhere else, doesn't that kind of naturally lead towards the kind of stagnation other people are asking about? I mean, I'm just asking questions. I don't know. I don't have any opinion either way or the other.
I guess it looks against your opinion of stagnation. I've been playing for a few years now. 3 months between wars, I would definitely not call it stagnated at all. So everybody's worried that the game is stagnating. I don't agree with. It's just not an opinion I share. I mean, we've seen periods of time, 8 months before war, that was stagnated.
So, Lord Tyrion, is Oasis planning any offensive action at this time?
No.
Admit it live on Thalmor right now.
That was a very meek no, but thank you, Tyrion.
What are your thoughts on the questions I'm asked?
Thalmor is Hand of Fate planning any offensive action right now?
No.
If you are, you're legally obligated to say it on Thalmor Radio.
Fine.
And then you have to abide by
We're
it.
attacking Cataclysm. We're attacking Cataclysm tomorrow. I'm coming for Kegos personally. Kegos, we were friendly for a while because of KT. And then he left KT, and then we gradually become hostile, but now we're friendly again. It's been very interesting with him.
I think that can honestly summarize the majority of our relationships with Kegos.
Yeah. I remember, like, gosh, it would have been 2019. He was like, I'm going to quit the game because of real life. But like he just never quits. He just always, like the Energizer Bunny. He just keeps going.
True.
He might be stuck in stasis in real life, forced to play the game for all we know.
If you haven't hated Kegos at some point in P&W, you've played for less than a year.
Kegos is that guy that he joins a new alliance, and then within 6 months, he got appointed the leader of that alliance. He's like the go-between filler leader for any group.
Which is funny because I still consider him a Rose leader.
That might have been true for like a long time, but I don't think it's true anymore. I don't think it's true anymore with Cataclysm and everything. But all right, let's get it back on track. Let's do the thigh slap. All right, so topic number 2 I think we're done with the MO stuff, the Mystery Oasis stuff. I think everyone asked all the questions they had. If someone wants to, I'm signing defensive MVPs. So let's switch topics for right now. I think we're done with that one. So you have, I don't think it's a treaty, but you have 4 different blocks coming together to announce that they are changing their attitudes towards naps. And so, Justinian, I get the vibe you were the biggest push for this one. So, like, what's the tea?
Okay, so do you actually remember our last Royal Orbis radio show? Because we actually discussed naps on there. So anyway,
Vaguely.
that got me thinking. A lot of people in this game will come on Ron or come on their Alliance server or on the forums or whatever and bitch about the state of the game, stagnation, what are we going to do? Why doesn't anybody else do anything? Blah, blah, blah. And I've been bitching about naps for, like, since we signed a long-ass nap after MPO's last time. I was iffy about one then, but I figured we needed it. It would be beneficial to take a break, whatever. And then it became a trend after every war, including recently, where we had like 1 or 2 month wars, to sign like a 3, 4, 5, 6 month non-aggression pact. And obviously this puts everybody in the game to sleep because it's like, all right, guys, slap 3K, 4K infra on me, and I'll log in 6 months. You know what I mean? And PNW is kind of too small of a community to lose even a handful of active people pushing politics, so it just puts the game to sleep even more than it already is. Anyways, so I decided to be the change I wanted to see in the world and reached out to literally everyone in DMs, every alliance leader, and was just like, hey, this may sound like a noobish idea, but if I get you all together in a room, can we figure out something where we won't, where we won't keep signing these superfluous naps, like 6-month naps after a 1-month war? It's ridiculous. And it becomes a cycle. So like George is saying, we've had 2 or 3 wars in the last 6 months. We've been pretty back to back to back. And that's a good thing, I guess. But if you look at the wars themselves, it's just like, what was the CB last time? Wales. What was the CB the time before that? General dislike. What was the CB before that? You know what I mean? Boredom. Like, it's not really politically pushed. It's just rushed wars for the sake of fighting, and that in itself is kind of its own stagnation, I feel like. But yeah, I mean, that's the story. I gathered everybody up after that Ron radio show when I realized, like, oh shit, I'm an alliance leader in a top 50 alliance. Like, maybe I can reach out to people and make some shit happen. And we didn't get everybody I wanted. Mystery Inc. and Blackwater specifically did not want to participate, although I wish they had. I'm kind of hoping, seeing that it was a serious post and not just me bullshitting in their DMs, maybe they'll reconsider, but, we'll see. But I think the people I got is a good group.
On that note, with the syndicate, I'm a bit worried about them because it seems like their attitude towards it seems like they're becoming more and more detached from the community and what's happening in it. And
so it's really funny you say that. It's really funny you say that because I actually was just talking with some people about this, and I was saying I was so frustrated with the syndicate's general attitude, or at least their attitude and leadership. Where you've spoken to Partisan, who quit the game because he was bored or busy. You spoke with Theo, who quit the game because he was bored or busy. Adam, who quit the game because he was bored or busy. And you could talk to any of their executive or former executives, and it seems like a very prevalent attitude of like, we don't like where the game is, so we're going to call it dead and refuse to do anything else kind of attitude. And it was very prevalent in my DMs trying to get them to sign on. I was kind of disappointed with it, but I was kind of hoping they would try to be optimistic. I could go further, but I'll stop it there. But yeah, I have noticed that trend too. I DM'd Leo actually to ask him if he wanted to come be Blackwater's talk person, since he was typing a lot in Ron, and he said that he hates the community and didn't want to be involved. which was very straightforward.
Yeah. I'm surprised though, although I think it's great that people were so receptive to it, and you did manage to get 2/3 of the blocks on board. Because from my experience, trying to get everyone to like agree to do something you'd have an easier time hurting an army of cats than you would trying to get everyone to agree on something.
I was pleasantly surprised at how willing everybody was to go along with it. The people that were willing to be involved, that like the smoothest part of it was actually finalizing it and getting everybody to actually agree on the final version. We only had 2 drafts of the announcement. I made 1 edit and it was good. So surprised in a pleasant
What were the
way.
disagreements on? What were the disagreements on?
Let me see. I can actually scroll back up and read, but so there was a lot of hesitancy at first at the lack of Blackwater and Mystery Inc. and Johnson's involvement. I guess because some people consider the Johnsons political. I don't know. I don't really think about them when I think about the game, but I guess people felt like we were missing half the spheres, and I was like, I don't know. I don't really count the Johnsons, and I feel like Mystery Inc. had indicated they were on board with the concept as a practice, but didn't want to actually sign anything committing to the idea. So I felt like we had, if you get everybody but one group in on it, that one group can't really then go to dictate, the terms, if that makes sense. Hopefully.
Yeah. Does anybody else have anything like Isel? Does anybody else want to contribute, or even Tyrion, to the anti-nap thing?
Have you thought about going on the offensive and forcing the people that didn't sign it into signing it?
Who asked that question?
Pre.
That would be fun. Not gonna lie.
You have to bring your peaceful ways by force.
Exactly.
That's the only way you can do it.
Accept our peace aggressively.
We can decide. We can sign a mandatory defensive treaty with an optional aggression, but we're only going to do it defensively. But we're going to put that optional aggression in.
So, guys, look, we've been at this for 45 minutes, and I think that's it. The conversation's kind of died down now. We've covered the NAP stuff, the Mystery Oasis stuff. If anybody else wants to talk anymore, now's the time to do it, because if not, I'm about ready to... I mean, everyone can stay and talk, but as far as the official show goes, I'm about ready to bounce myself if no one else has anything.
The white peace
But,
post.
the white peace post, I have no idea what that even is. Was that another thread that went up about something?
I just posted it in radio.
That's the non-aggression pact. Different thing.
You're right.
There was nothing in there about white pieces, was there?
No.
No, Luna, I do not.
Okay. Well, it's good to know that I am not the only one whose brain is half melted from 5G. I guess that's it. So, I speculated before at the beginning of the show about what I thought the Mystery and Oasis thing was about. After hearing Tyrion talk, Azazel talk, the other guy who starts with a V, Valian Vass, probably didn't say that right, but that's okay.
Bellini Thalmor.
Everything they said, Vellini, fucking Italians. Everything about it, everything they said basically goes along with what I speculated it was about, was that this was a temporary measure, it was defensive, and it was in response to a threat. So, yeah, I guess we'll see what happens. Could be a really boring December, could be a very interesting December, but we'll see what happens now. The nap thing is really cool. I have Michael Gary Scott in my DMs asking me if I have an air fryer. I don't know what that's about. I don't know why that's funny. An air fryer?
Are you like neighbors with him or something?
No.
It's so odd.
I don't have an air fryer.
Well, you honestly should get one. Air fryers are awesome.
I was looking for one with my mom a few months ago, but we never got one.
So Thalmor, here's a semi-off-topic question as well. What's the peak listenership for the Thalmor radio?
It's in the 40s.
Because we
usually we get 30.
We hit almost 80 tonight.
Yeah, it was in the 70s. This one doesn't count though. This is like a bonus show done because of like some big news stuff. I wouldn't even like count this one. But thanks everyone who's here for showing up and listening in on stuff. And thank you to Azazel, Tyrion, Justinian, Pre, Kev, everyone who came on and said something too. But I think I'm done. Clearly, you don't own an air. That must be a meme that I'm behind the times on, I guess. But no. So we'll see what happens. It's a cool time to be playing Politics and War. And I'm done. Does anybody else have something to say or talk about? Or I'm closing this shit out for the night. Because I got Subway. The Subway girl was really nice to me. That was cool. I'm ready to eat my 6-inch.
When are you going to ask for her
and
number?
Then soon. Is she still sleeping? I think so.
Use the air fryer as an in.
All right. Air fryer as an in.
Go ask to borrow her air fryer for a friend.
All right. Kills Bob, play the theme. Soup in the recording when the theme is done. Thank y'all for coming out. But we are done.
Thalmor Radio. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Thalmor Radio. Yeah, he's coming at you from the top. Oh no, no, he won't stop. Thalmor Radio. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Thalmor Radio.
Thalmor Radio.
Y'all are free to